Hey, Jason,
Yes, sir.
what's General Grievous's favorite band?
I wasn't prepared for this morning. I wasn't prepared for dad jokes. Let's see. What's his favorite band? Um, I don't know.
Weezer.
Oh,
How do you do a stir fry on Endor
Mr. Friend, or you Ewok it?
with an Ewok?
That was close.
You were close. And I got one by. How do you unlock doors on Kashyyyk?
Um, it's probably something like you Wookie them open or something.
Yeah, with a Wookiee.
Woodkey. See, I'm close. I got the pattern.
We'll do one more. What's a Rebel's favorite TV talent show?
A Rebel's favorite TV talent show. I don't know. There's so many reality shows.
X-Wing Factor.
Uh, X-Wing.
That one was pretty bad.
It was funny because yesterday Harrison went to homecoming. Speaking of Weezer, and he's like getting out of his shell. He's going with a group, and they're playing a Weezer song, and they're like, nobody listens to Weezer, and Harrison's like, I exclusively listen to Weezer.
Oh, listen to him.
He was joking around, but Buddy Holly was on, and so he started singing Buddy Holly, and he's like, and he came home, and like everybody in the car was laughing, so I'm like, I'm a proud dad because he was doing that, but he came home and he's like, it's all because dad listens to Weezer. And I'm like, oh no, it's dad music. Oh no, it's not cool to listen to Weezer anymore, folks.
This is the way.
We wanted men.
Spoken.
I don't know why I said it like that. Welcome to episode 162 of the Smugglers Galaxy Podcast, your favorite Star Wars podcast for smugglers in the galaxy. Jason's having computer problems as always.
Yeah.
This morning.
Yeah. Working through it.
Yeah, it's never a fun, it's not a good episode unless we have computer problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
That's how you know it's going to be stellar.
Yeah. So how's your week going so far?
So far, so good. I can't complain. How's yours?
Mine's good. It's been great.
You're turning on our radio voices.
Yeah, welcome.
What was that noise?
I don't know. I was thinking Wolfman or something.
Choo-choo train radio.
Yeah.
Motorcycle radio.
Welcome.
Oh my God.
That did not work.
No.
No, my week was all right. Apparently my grandkids like when people talk like rednecks, so I was talking to them last night. Oh, how y'all doing? I guess that stuck, but my week was good. It was, there was a swap meet yesterday and hung out with Tony for a little bit, had some Chinese food, and then went over to Second Chance Toys. Hung out for a couple hours there, and
I felt
No,
go ahead.
I didn't. The only thing I saw was it was like a box full of ET stuff that Mandy already had. So, yeah, that was about it. I saw like a Gambit at the toy swap that I was considering buying, but then it grabbed me enough to go back and get it. So I didn't get it.
Yeah, I didn't intend to go to that swap. Harrison and I climbed Kennesaw Mountain just to dad and father and son kind of time. And, it was earlier than I anticipated. And so we're kind of like halfway there from my house to the swap. And I was like, Harrison, you want to go? He's like, yeah, let's go get Starbucks and go. So
he really is taking after you, listening to Weezer, getting
Starbucks. Yeah. But he's not collecting action figures. So there's something there to be improved, I guess. But yeah, we did go to the swap and we just did a lap. And I felt bad because like, Tony and I were ships passing in the night.
Mhm.
He was walking in as I was walking out. He's like, "Really, you're leaving?" I'm like, "Yeah, we're not supposed to be here right now."
Yeah, we're sneaking it in. Yeah. I mean, it was good. I only made one lap, but that's just because you know how it is when you go there, you end up talking more than you do looking for toys.
Yep.
And that's pretty much how it was. And it got about 1:00, and Tony and I were sitting talking about life and getting some career advice from him because he does IT, and I'm kind of thinking about making a career change going that route. And he, we're like, let's go get lunch. So we ended up, because he keeps talking about this Chinese place that he always goes to when he's on this side of town. So we went to it, and I'm like, yep, it was worth going to. Yeah, it's right up. If you are going north on 75 and you make the exit to go to Second Chance Toys, there's right where there's a big curve on, I think, Highway 5 or Canton Highway or whatever. There's a white building that's called Canton Cooks, and it's right there.
Oh, okay.
It's very unassuming. It used to be a barbecue restaurant, and now it's a Chinese place.
I'll share that with my wife and my girls because they like Chinese.
And they serve it family style, which my wife was like, I like that. And we just never, when we do Chinese food, it's mostly takeout.
Yeah.
But this was really good. And then you could sneak in a trip to Second Chance Toys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't been there in a couple of weeks. I was at the Cobb Antique Mall. Did I pick something? Oh, I did pick something up, but it's for my birthday and I'm not supposed to know about it. So.
I love those.
I was like, we were at this one booth. It wasn't even one of the toy booths, but they had a bunch of Pottery Barn Kids stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The sheets, the bedding material. And they had an R2D2 pillow. And I'm like, this thing's really calling to me. And it was $10. And she bought it and she hasn't given it to me. So I'm like, oh, well, I guess I'll see that in a month.
Yeah, I got my Sabine, my TVC Sabine and the Ezra and the Black Series Ezra. It's supposed to be here tomorrow. The only thing I think I picked up, my wife was trying to get like this very exclusive Barbie from Mattel. And of course it's sold out in minutes. It's one of those where you're in the queue to purchase it because you get it in your cart, and as you're trying to purchase it, it's got you going through all these things like, are you a robot, or all this stuff. And then by the time you check out, it's gone. So she got aggravated and bought a bunch of stuff on Mattel. She bought, like, they're doing like little people football things, like football. I guess they're doing little people I think is going to be like the new Pops, I guess. I don't know, but they did like a Saints, like little people dressed as Saints fans. So she bought me those. And I think that's all I got this week. It's been, I just paid off my Bill and Ted stuff, so I should be getting that, I guess, in a week or so once I get the notification. So I'll share pictures and stuff with that. So that's pretty cool.
I got the Micro Galaxy Squadron Imperial Shuttle, the ship from Return of the Jedi. Yeah. I bought one at Walmart a couple weeks ago, probably more of a month ago. And 2 more arrived today from Amazon. I'm like, I don't remember buying 2, but I do know my intent was to get one to open. Yeah. So maybe I ordered 2 from Amazon, so I have to take one back. But
and then you can get the 20% off from Kohl's and go shopping.
Oh, I'll tell. Maybe I'll go alone so that I don't have to do that with my wife.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I got was the holiday edition Jawa that's dressed like Santa, and the Salacious Crumb who's green.
Yeah.
I did pre-order that, so that arrived, but I'm a little frustrated with Hasbro because everything's hitting all at once, and suddenly I'm like, whoa.
Right.
At the Ghost, I had the 2 Jabba Palace play sets, or Bib Fortuna's play set, whatever it's called, and then the what do they call it? The Dissidents, the creatures, the 4-pack TVC creatures that were from Jabba's Palace. Yeah. I got 2 of those, one to open, one to keep in the box. And of course those hit, like, everything's hitting all at once, and it's just like, oh my gosh, slow down.
And then if they're not releasing all the pre-orders at once, they're giving us crappy new toys.
Yeah, that was so I was chatting with Tony about this, and I wasn't articulating myself well enough because I was getting frustrated that Hasbro does treat Star Wars differently from Marvel and G.I. Joe.
Uh-huh.
And I just couldn't articulate it at the time because Tony's like, well, the grass is not always greener because they do repack and repaint. But I was like, but when they do that, it's to create a new character. So they might use the same body for Mr. Fantastic, for the Human Torch. I know not the arms, but like maybe the body is reused all over again.
The torso.
But they don't go to gimmicks to sell those toys. Marvel and G.I. Joe don't get gimmicks. You don't get the Crystal Edition Transformer. It's only for Star Wars they feel like they can exploit the fans because they feel like the fans will buy anything.
Yeah.
And they're able to do the Carbonite versions, the credit collection, the holiday edition, and now the hologram version.
Yeah, whatever they're calling those blue things, whatever, you know.
And that's the part that I'm frustrated. It's like, why are you wasting your budget on gimmicks? Give us something that we want. Give us a new character. Instead of making 5 new holograms, just give us the Mayor Makshaiz or something like that. You know, like give us something new.
Right. Well, they've already got the buck or whatever for that one, right? Because they did the guy they did Doc Ondor.
Yeah. Well, I was just using that for an example.
Yeah.
That's the first character that I was actually thinking the what's the character, the Twi'lek from Book of Boba Fett that was like the politician from Veep or whatever.
Yeah.
That's the first guy that came to my mind, but I couldn't figure out what his name was, so I went to Mayor Makshaiz because
I don't even remember what I suck at names. So yeah, dude. And the problem is those are cool figures, and I think if they wanted to have milked it, people wouldn't be upset. I mean, because it's a cool gimmick where you could put it on a puck with a light on it, and it lights up and gives you a 30-minute light show. But I think if they hadn't bled everything dry with the carbonized figures and the oh look, it's Boba Fett, but instead of having ice on him, he's got mud, and then he's got his Beskar armor. I think people wouldn't be as pissed off about it.
And it was weird that it was Mando, Ahsoka, Bo-Katan, Han Solo, but it's like a New Hope Han Solo, and then Axe Wolves. Wolves is he's one of the characters that they're offering.
I guess maybe because wasn't he in a holographic form in Book of Boba Fett? Maybe
I don't remember, but these are like
Mandalorian. Sorry,
these are like bounty collecting pucks,
right?
And they've got a little sign that goes in front of it that says how much the bounty's worth, and so you put that on the front of the puck. And then you put your character on top of it, and it all glows like this is a bounty. And I'm like, 30-minute lights, no paint applications, repacks for $35. This just doesn't seem worth the money to me, and I'm just tired of the gimmicks.
Right.
It's not creative, and it's again, I feel like it's damaging the brand, at least for me. And if it's damaging for me, I would assume it's damaging to other people who collect and care.
Yeah. People will buy it. Well, actually, what'll probably happen is it'll end up in Ollie's, like the Axe Wolves helmet.
Yeah, and I saw a couple of those at the swap. I was a little disappointed to see that.
Yeah, but what you gonna do?
It is what it is. But I was just like, come on, we'll save it for the people who actually what scalpers.
Yeah, you were talking to people, or you were about that Ollie's thing, and apparently they were talking. You go to Ollie's and they were like, yeah, we had people waiting when it opened, when we opened to buy that stuff, and it's like nobody wants that helmet. That's why it's at Ollie's. So how much are you really gonna make on it? So you're going to get $10 a helmet to wait an hour at Ollie's. So is it really worth it?
Yep. I don't think so.
I saw that, and I saw the Captain America shield.
The shield, yeah.
But I don't know what they were asking for them.
I don't understand the teal blue.
The last thing you want to hear when you need your auto insurance most is,
"Thank you for calling. Please listen to your list of 46 possible service options."
Which is why when you choose USAA Auto Insurance, you'll get great service that is easy and reliable. 24/7 online service for claims, access to roadside assistance, and more. All at the touch of a button. Start getting the service you deserve. Get a quote today. Ability to receive a quote depends on membership eligibility. Membership eligibility and product restrictions apply and are subject to change. USAA means United Services Automobile Association and its affiliates, San Antonio, Texas.
This episode is brought to you by Skinny Pop Popcorn. Perfectly popped, endlessly delicious. Oh, so light and crunchy. Skinny Pop Original Popcorn is the snack you've been searching for. Made with just 3 simple ingredients: popcorn kernels, sunflower oil, and salt. Snacking never felt or tasted so good. Perfectly popped, endlessly delicious. Give yourself permission to snack and pick up Skinny Pop Original Popcorn today.
I don't either.
It's another repaint.
There you go, another repaint. Maybe that's why it's at Ollie's. I never did any research. I don't know if it's a different thing or what. But I was at that booth, and about the time, you're sitting there talking to them, and about that time, a big gust of wind came and took their tents and flipped a bunch of stuff over.
Yeah.
So you're just kind of standing there going, what do I do? Do I just walk away, or do I stand here? Because you don't want to be, you don't want to be rude, but then you don't want to be in the middle of everything trying to fix it. And you're just kind of waiting. And it was a very awkward few moments.
Right.
Yeah.
Harrison beat Jedi Survivor this past week. And I asked him, how much time does Kel appear in Imperial costume? Because there's the TVC figure that's coming out.
Yeah.
He's like, it's like 5% of the game. So instead of giving us a new figure, they did a quick repaint of something that Hasbro could do easily instead of making something new, which just confirms my ongoing theory that given the choice, they'll repaint and repack quick and easy rather than make something new.
Yay, Hasbro.
It's just disappointing. Vinny wrote in. He's got a couple things. One I'll share towards the end of the episode when we finish Ahsoka's talk.
Okay.
But he did say that October 3rd is the premiere date of the Clone Wars 15 years ago, and Ahsoka had its season finale on the same day, 15 years later.
And guess what premiered 9 years ago on that same day?
Nothing of note, I would say.
Star Wars Rebels. So that day has some significance in Dave Filoni history. So it was kind of cool. That was how everything kind of merges together in that.
Lucasfilm did tweet that this was a season finale before changing it to series finale. They deleted the tweet.
Oh.
So, I mean, there's nothing announced yet. Maybe it's in the pipeline, but they can't. Filoni could start writing now, but he can't get actors or film anything. So
I think this is a springboard. I think they're gonna. It's a blessing and a curse that they want to do what Marvel's did, because people, they're gonna go to the new show and realize, oh, there's 100 and some odd hours of content I got to watch to know what's going on.
Yeah.
So I think that's what they're trying to do, and maybe they'll just do like, you have one seasons of things versus mini seasons of things. So like you got Ahsoka, which will do all the Ahsoka stuff, and then maybe next one will be a Sabine show or something.
Well, I think Ahsoka. Well, okay. I guess we're just gonna go.
Or not a Sabine, but you know what I mean. Or a Balin show or something.
I could see Ezra and Hera continuing on in another show, but I feel like Ahsoka and Sabine's story needs to be told in its own contained series.
Yeah, and maybe they'll do that. There's so many ways that this can go that I don't think them saying Ahsoka's season finale or series finale is that big of a deal. I'm not that worried about it. The storyline is not going to be over because Ahsoka's season or series is over.
Right. Speaking of season 2, Variety had an article this week talking about it, and they said, we hear that Ahsoka season 2 is more of a reality in the conversation, though nothing is locked yet. There's no place cards teasing that Ahsoka would return in the immediate future. The strikes have put production on hold for some time, so they're just confirming that it's a conversation that is being had in Hollywood right now, but unfortunately with the circumstances, they can't move forward. They can't talk about season 2. It's just kind of on hold.
Right. I mean, it stinks, but what you going to do? I mean, it's backed things up a couple of years.
Yeah.
But speaking of like Hollywood and movies, I watched Haunted Mansion on Disney Plus.
I did too.
What'd you think?
Not a single wow from Owen Wilson. Wow. 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 That's what I'm trying to tell you. I was in a haunted house. Wow. This is great.
No, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good movie. They definitely had some good Easter eggs in it. A lot of good Easter eggs.
Yeah. I love that it was basically the ride. Like, all the rooms were there, the characters were there. Ezra, Phineas, and Gus, the hitchhiking ghosts, are my favorite. And there was just a brief cameo, and I'm like, oh. I wish they would make a movie about those guys instead of the Hatbox Ghost, who is he's a character of legend who's been recently added to the rides, but he's not like a character that people know of. Right.
Well, that's just like the sailor or whatever that was taunting the main character. That was it, the only reason I know about that is because we listened to the Lentesta, the Disney or whatever that show is.
Yeah, he was the original character that they were going to base the ride off of. It was going to be a walkthrough experience.
Exactly. And it was kind of cool to see him, and you were like kind of nerding out, and I was nerding out a little bit, but not much. And then, the Haunted Mansion, and the main mansion in the show is the one based off Disneyland. And then they go to the guy's house a few hours away, and I'm like,
yeah,
that's the one in Disney World. And my wife's like, really?
Yeah.
You've freaking seen it. You've been to Disney, but
there's this place called Jim Thorpe in Pennsylvania. It's out in the middle of the mountains. It's this nice little mountain town, and we were walking. We were at family vacation, so it was the whole family was there, like my immediate family, and we're walking around, and we look at this one house, and we're like, that house looks a lot like the Haunted Mansion in Disney World and in Magic Kingdom, and we just left it at that. Come to find out, that house was the inspiration for the house in Magic Kingdom. So
yeah, I knew there was a house somewhere that there was an inspiration, but I didn't know where it was.
It's in Jim Thorpe. If you're ever interested, and if you're ever in Pennsylvania, off of 81.
Yes, I'm going to Pennsylvania right now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye. Make sure you stop at the it's the Turkey Hill.
Okay.
Anyways, yeah, I thought it was cool. I like Tiffany Haddish. There was one part where she gets escorted out of the house in a chair. And the chair was shaped like the People Mover.
Yeah.
I did the Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, the Doom Buggy thing. You're like, yeah, there's the Doom Buggy.
Wait, oh. But
and then like there's also a scene where Owen Wilson's playing a piano, and it's Small World that he's playing.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. It right when you start noticing it, it kills it.
Stops.
It stops.
Wow, I have to check that out.
Yeah. It was an enjoyable movie. I kind of
wow.
Yeah, we were going to go see it in a theater, and we just never made it. And then you see that it's coming to Disney Plus, and it's like, why am I going to waste $20 to see it in a theater when I can wait another month?
Yeah,
see it for free.
It was good. It was entertaining. The thing that I felt like was the most unrealistic was a small kid playing with action figures. Ain't no way. Not today.
No. But he was kind of an old soul, so maybe that's what it was.
Maybe. I know last week we said that we weren't going to talk about Rogue Fun, and we'll try to limit it as much as possible, but it's just, you've got two of the planners on this podcast, and it's going to happen.
Yes.
This week I ordered badges, so the badges are on their way, and just looking at other things.
Yeah, it's definitely a learning experience.
Yeah.
Trying to plan a multi-day event that, I mean, like, because when we do the summer social or, winter social, it's like, if people are disappointed, it's free. So they, it's not a big deal, but when they're paying money to come to do something, the pressure's definitely on.
Yeah.
To put on something that is worth people's money.
It'll happen. What did you think about Ahsoka season finale or series, depending on which tweet you read?
Yeah. I freaking enjoyed it. there was a lot of stuff. There was a lot of stuff to unpack in that last episode. Gosh, I don't even know where to start, man. I enjoyed it. I've got maybe at the end of the episode, our buddy David Quinn did a reaction show. So I went ahead and sent something in just so I can have it on tape. And I'll probably play that at the end because I still have the original audio. So I'll play it at the end of the episode. Y'all can hear it. Just so you can hear my, oh crap, I just watched this reaction. But no, the whole series was great. I will give it a 10 out of 10. I think just because I'm a Rebels fan, I think it was a love letter to Clone Wars and Rebels fans, or Clone Wars and Rebels. And you miss so much not knowing those shows in that episode, in the show, because they can only do so much explaining.
Yeah.
You don't realize who Ezra is. You don't realize you kind of know who Ezra and Sabine are, but you don't realize their relationship. You don't realize, I mean, even when I was watching Rebels and Ahsoka showed up, I knew who she was, but I didn't know who she was. I knew it was a big deal, but I didn't realize how big of a deal it was for her to be in Rebels.
Yeah.
And it does once you watch Clone Wars and then you see the final battle between her and Darth Vader / Anakin, you realize, it just brings a different level to things, and it brings a different level to the whole World Between Worlds thing.
Forget World Between Worlds. We're moving on to Mortis now.
Oh my God.
That's Mortis. The talk.
Okay, so somebody had went back to the Mortis, the World Between Worlds episode.
Yeah.
And Sabine is talking to Ezra when they're in front of the painting. And she goes, it's like a star map. All these circles and lines lead to things.
Oh. So
it goes back to the ending credits of Ahsoka, and they're like, the Mortis gods were in front of us the whole time. We just missed it. We missed, you're busy trying to interpret this star map when the picture is a lot bigger.
Yeah. So part 8 of Ahsoka is called The Jedi, the Witch, and the Warlord, directed by Rick Famuyiwa.
I laughed at that title. Did you laugh at the title?
Yeah, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly.
Yeah.
The Jedi, the Witch, the Warlord. Didn't they do something similar to that in one of the episodes of The Mandalorian?
Probably. I don't remember.
Written by Dave Filoni, because he wrote every single episode of this season, and I feel like he did a good job.
Yes. Just a little bit.
He did a good job expanding the story to the point where it didn't really feel like it dragged. I know some people felt that way at the start, but maybe they were just catching on to who these characters were and learning it, and they weren't relating to the characters just yet.
Yeah, I think it was a drag, but I also think that's sort of how Filoni writes. It feels like its first 2 or 3 episodes is story building and arc building and world building, and then about midway through, everything clicks, and then it's just pedal to the metal the rest of the season.
This episode is brought to you by Bai. It's Wonder Water. What makes Bai so great? It's simple. From Raspberry Lemon Lime by Sydney Sweeney to Zambia Bing Cherry and Palavo Pineapple Mango, Bai has antioxidants, electrolytes, and no artificial sweeteners. So for flavorful hydration, choose Bai. It's Wonder Water. Learn more about Bai and discover all of the exotic, bold flavors at drinkbai.com.
At Mayo Clinic in Florida, we're seeing the unseeable. Using advanced imaging technology, our experts can look deeper into the human body, uncovering the smallest of details that would otherwise go unnoticed, leading to more accurate diagnoses and treatments. We're making more possible at Mayo Clinic, because every day we're doing what's never been done. Learn more at mayoclinic.org/possible. Mayo Clinic. You know where to go.
We begin with Morgan telling Thrawn that the cargo transport has been complete. All of those caskets or whatever they are have been loaded onto the ship. And Morgan's like, there's nothing the Jedi can do now. And Thrawn's like, well, there probably is. We can't underestimate these people. And then we've got the really cool scene of actually seeing how someone becomes a Night Sister. The Night Sisters surround Morgan, and they give her the gift of shadows, a reward for her quest to bring hyperspace and bring them to the other galaxy. all that stuff. You can tell that this is something Morgan has worked for her entire life, because I felt like the actress was showing that she was overwhelmed and just kind of shocked, or not shocked, honored that this was happening to her. They touch her face and they make her a Night Sister. Her eyes go dark. So it's kind of cool to see a juvenile Night Sister, one that hasn't kind of evolved to what the other three look like.
Mm-hmm.
Then the Night Sisters conjure the blade of Talzin, Mother Talzin's sword, and Thrawn is standing behind them, smiling.
Yeah, no, I think that, it was cool. I don't know what,
Cool. And then from there,
you felt, well, hold on. I'm gathering my thoughts. You knew, it's because, we hear that, you were talking about how there was like a scene with her and Rosario Dawson that they practiced for like 17 weeks for or something. And as soon as that blade came out, you go, we hadn't seen it yet. And it's going to be pretty freaking awesome.
Yep. From there, we cut back to Ahsoka's ship, and Ezra is assembling a lightsaber really fast, really sloppily, almost I would assume that's how Hu Yang is looking at Ezra, like, slow down, you're making a mess, you're not doing this right.
That's Ezra.
Yeah, that's just Ezra. He's building it too fast, and Hu Yang tells Ezra he instructed Kanan how to build a lightsaber. Once Hu Yang learns that Kanan taught Ezra, he pulls out a twin emitter that matches Kanan's lightsaber, and he gives it to Ezra. Ezra ignites a blue lightsaber. And it was pretty cool to see him complete that circle.
That was cry number one for those keeping track. There was a couple of things in that scene, and some of it you didn't realize until you start watching like post credit or post stuff. Because he was talking about how the emitter was going to be too thin of a lightsaber. So that was I think that was a jab at the Rebels lightsabers for being so thin. And then they talked about the reason that Sabine and Ahsoka split ways was because after the siege of Mandalore, Ahsoka thought Sabine was becoming to be a Jedi for the wrong reasons, for revenge, and that she'd be too powerful. And you're just like, oh crap! At that moment you realize Sabine is real. She just hasn't realized it yet.
I was watching an interview with Lucas over the week or so, and he was talking about how everybody in the Star Wars galaxy has the Force. Everybody.
Yeah.
Some people have more talent than others. That's why Anakin was able to pick up the Force so much, is because he has a talent for it. But anybody who doesn't have a talent still has the ability to use the Force. It just will take more training. It's just like an athlete. Some people, they just wake up and they're able to shoot basketballs and hit the net every single time, where some people might take 16 years to get to that point. It's just how much training does one need, and everybody does have access to it.
Right. Which is, I think, is a very important part to hear about, because it does make sense, and I like the athletic tie to it.
Ahsoka does tell Sabine that she's aware of the gamble that she made to, give the bad guys the map for the hope of getting to Ezra.
Right.
It was a gamble. It paid off. Ahsoka assures Sabine that no matter what happens, Ahsoka will always be there for Sabine, because Anakin was always there for Ahsoka. And I thought it was cool that Ahsoka's looking at the good side of Anakin and not focusing on the negative, because even through the Force now, she feels the faith that Anakin is with her.
Right.
Which we will reinforce at the end. 2 TIE fighters are inbound, and they blast the ship's engine and their stabilizers, which forces Ezra and Sabine to get underneath and to stabilize it through the Force. That gives Sabine enough time to give the ship some energy for one last maneuver, which she rockets off into the sky and nicks the sides of the TIE fighters with her ship. She slices the what do they call it? The split? No, 7-10 split kind of thing.
Yeah.
And she slices through them and knocks them out of the sky, but it's at the cost of their ship, which crashes.
I was kind of upset at that whole thing, because it's like, could 2 TIE fighters do that much damage with a couple of shots?
Yes. It's just the stormtroopers can't hit for their life.
That just always bothered me with that one sequence of events. It was like, would you not at least have your shields up or something stupid? But Well, whatever.
Thrawn prepares for an immediate ground assault. The heroes run towards the Star Destroyer on a pair of wolves. Ezra says that Thrawn woke up the witches and restarted the palace as soon as shortly after they got there. So it's just kind of gives us some of the background where I would imagine the Night Sisters were in some sort of stasis or sleep, waiting for the day where someone would come and help them with their mission.
Right.
Thrawn orders an attack, says there'll be no negotiations with the apprentice of Anakin Skywalker. He knows what's up. And in the previous episode, he said that the priority was getting home.
Right.
It wasn't anything else. So, he's just like blow them out of the ground. And so a barrage of blasters rain down on the three, and they use the Force to probably dodge those attacks, I would imagine. And then they use the Force to open up the heavy stone door that leads into the palace. Thrawn is very displeased.
That look on Thrawn's face.
Yeah.
Really have you seen the memes where it's like when your mom asks you to pick up all your toys as a kid and it's Thrawn's face?
Yeah. He dispatches the night troopers, which we can get into in a minute because I had some questions. The trio are in the palace. They're fighting a squadron of stormtroopers. The knights, and so they defeat them all. They knock them all down. They kill them all. The Night Sisters use their dark magic to reanimate them to become night troopers. They become zombies and they attack our heroes again. Ezra says he's never seen that happen before. They're slower than before, making me think that this is their first time as night troopers. So I don't think they were night troopers at this point. I think they were still when they first get down there to meet the trio. I think they were stormtroopers.
Right. I agree.
Because the way they act, I assume that Thrawn just assumes that these stormtroopers are going to die, so we're going to need the night troopers.
All right. And
so I just assume that this is the first time that they've been reanimated because they walk slower, they're not as fast, they're moaning and they've got the green eyes. So I think this is the first time.
I don't know if it's necessarily the first time they've done it, but it's
it's not the first time they've done it. This is the first time they've done it with this squadron of stormtroopers. I think they were alive before now.
Yes. I don't think it's a first time. I don't think you can bring them back from the dead more than once.
Okay.
Because when they were talking, they were like, is the squad ready? Or something. They were like, well, these are the volunteers. And they were like, yes, they know the sacrifice.
Yeah. And
I thought they were going to get left behind. I didn't know they were going to turn them into zombies.
Yeah. Yeah, Thrawn. Yeah, like you were saying, Morgan says she understands the sacrifice that they're making.
Right.
Oh no, sorry. There was a scene, right before it, but they were also hinting at what was about to happen to Morgan.
Okay.
It was like saying that the stormtroopers understand their sacrifice, and I didn't write it down, but Thrawn was kind of like, "It's needed for the Empire. Like, you're gonna have to do it too soon."
Oh, okay. I got you. Yeah, but I think I think you can only become a zombie trooper or night trooper once.
And why can't you do it more than once?
If you just keep bringing them back and bringing them back?
Yeah.
I guess you could, but they want to go back to being human. They'd still be zombies.
So I guess Marek at the start of the show was just introducing the concept of reanimating someone because that's essentially what he was.
Probably. But then how would he get? There's that thing brings up a whole nother theory and a whole nother, oh my God, how did he get to where he get to this world if he was, if you couldn't travel between worlds and stuff? That's, a whole nother conversation.
I kind of, looking back on the show now, and I know I'm making my own headcanon to explain it, but I would assume that the Night Sisters reanimated someone to help Morgan along the way. Mm-hmm. Morgan makes friends with Balin and Shin, and they become a whole group.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. After Ezra and Sabine and Ahsoka find a way to stop the night troopers by closing the blast doors. They run away. Thrawn asks Morgan to stay behind and give the Star Destroyer more time. Morgan says she understands her sacrifice. And the first time I watched this, my heart broke for Morgan. I know she's a bad guy, but she was used and abused. She dedicated her life and trying to get Thrawn back, helping the Night Sisters. I think that was the true end for her quest, was to help the Night Sisters, because she is essentially someone who descended from Dathomir. And to do all that work, to give them the opportunity to come back, and for them to say, "Nah, you stay here now.
Right.
It's our show," and just kind of pushing her out of the way. I was kind of heartbroken for her.
Yeah. No, but that's also like the hero's, not a hero's quest, but you've seen it before. So it's typical writing where, you do have the person that was basically used and abused to get what they're to meet their end. And then they've got to make a sacrifice, and you don't get to see everything complete.
Yeah. Thrawn whispers or says, "This is for the Empire." And as everybody walks away, Morgan says, "This is for Dathomir."
I was trying to hear if her voice had changed. Did you hear it, or?
I didn't hear it yet, but I thought she was still a juvenile Night Sister. She hasn't gone down the path completely.
Okay.
So to speak. The trio meet up with Morgan, and Sabine and Ezra carry on, and Ahsoka takes her lightsabers out, and she has a start of a battle with Morgan. Sabine and Ezra get to the top of the tower where 2 Death Troopers are waiting for them.
I saw those Death Troopers like earlier in the show, and I'm like, those are badass looking. And then in this scene, you realize how badass they really are.
Yeah, at one point, one of the helmets crack open, and you can see that he's a Night Trooper. He's a zombie.
Yeah.
And he's been that way for a long time, I would assume.
Yeah.
So
I mean, because he's basically a skull.
Yeah. Yeah. With just some basic flesh on it. But there, Thrawn, in between this, Thrawn starts his ascent up into the atmosphere. Then we cut back to Sabine, who drops her saber as one of the Death Troopers knocks her into the stone monolith and is choking her there. And I said when she needed it the most, she would use the Force, and she reaches out to the Force, grabs her lightsaber, and ignites it in the side of the Death Trooper's head.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden she knows how to use it, which, it was a cool moment, but you knew you could tell it was coming.
And I saw someone talking about how it was Ezra that helped her unlock the Force. She's been waiting to get to Ezra's. It's been her mission the whole time. Now she's with Ezra. It's pushed her over the edge where she feels like, to save his life further, she needs to use the Force.
Uh-huh.
And so that's why she's able to use the Force to grab the saber.
Right. Well, there was a lot going on in the background. You have her reconnecting with Ezra. You have her and Ahsoka healing. So I think her mind was more open to it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I think you're right. It was meeting Ezra and all the healing and everything that happened, that she was like, "Oh, I can do this." Mm-hmm. And it was self-doubting. I think she was doubting herself. And sometimes you just need to be reaffirmed.
Yeah. And so she's able to do it now.
Yeah. Which, I don't mind. I know a lot of people are like, "I can't believe Sabine's a Jedi." I'm like, you know what? I'm cool with it, man. Let her story arc continue. Give her a good story arc. And I'm fine with her being a Jedi. It's kind of badass seeing a Mandalorian Jedi.
Yeah. She's able to distract the other Death Trooper to give Ezra time to slice the head off of the Death Trooper. The Night Troopers meet up with Ahsoka and Morgan. So she's kind of outnumbered. Sabine and Ezra make a plan to get to the Star Destroyer. Ezra's going to jump across, and Sabine's going to push to get him across the gap. And then once on the other side, Sabine is going to jump, and Ezra's going to pull. This scene was obviously straight out of Rebels for a couple of reasons, because Kanan and Ezra do it once before.
They do it a lot, actually.
Oh,
yeah, that's like their signature move.
But it calls back, it harkens back to Star Wars Rebels. But also, like Star Wars Rebels, Ezra doesn't make it. He falls short, and we think that he's falling all the way, but 2 stormtroopers investigate to see what happens, and we see that he just fell short. He's hanging there, but he's able to jump up and toss the stormtroopers off the ledge, or at least one of them.
Right. And the music, I mean, like, again, man, I said it before, the music on this season was incredible, because it's either it either was a Rebels arc. I don't remember if it was Rebels or Star Wars, but you had that definite theme when you see her push Ezra. It all of a sudden the music hits and you're just like, oh, you know.
Seems like Ahsoka's alone, that Sabine's left, and things are looking bleak for our hero. But Sabine says that she's not alone after Morgan calls out, "You are alone now." And Sabine's like, she's not alone. And Sabine stays behind and defeats all the stormtroopers while Ahsoka.
Hold on one second. I liked it. I liked it, and I didn't like it how like all the Death Troopers were like ready to kill somebody, and then they get up there and see Ahsoka and Morgan battling, and they just stop.
Well, it's similar to what happened in A New Hope, and
right?
The
Well,
Stormtroopers stopped to watch what happened.
Right, that's what I was getting at. It's like stormtroopers must really love a good lightsaber battle.
And these are night troopers too. They're dead.
Right. So
even in death, they're like, "Oh, we got to check this out.
Hey, watch this.
Watch this. Cool. Wait, is that the blade of Dathomir or Talzin?"
You're right. But I mean, I enjoyed it because there was so much stuff. Like you keep saying, everything's poetry, and it was just hearkening back to A New Hope. And it just like, it seems like every time something happens, you can always, point back to something else.
Everything's poetry. It rhymes with itself. And that was my Lucas impersonation. Not good.
No, it wasn't good, Jason.
Ahsoka uses the move, I believe, that she learned from episode 5 of this season when she disarms Anakin, and she does a spin move and grabs the blade.
Mm-hmm.
She does the same thing here with Morgan. She grabs the blade of Talzin, which I guess she's in possession of now, and she slices open twice. Did you catch that? One with the blade and one with the lightsaber.
Yeah.
Morgan Elsbeth, she goes down.
And then the Night Sisters are like, Morgan's dead.
Morgan's dead. It's too bad. It's just part of the process.
Well, that's was Thrawn's thing, man. Thrawn, like we keep saying, Thrawn was just single focused, and he's going to use whoever he can to get what he wants.
Yeah. Ezra watches from the Star Destroyer all this happen and hears that reinforcements are coming. So he's like, "Thank you," and he grabs this stormtrooper and drags it away, and that's the last we see from him for a while. Ahsoka and Sabine jump off the tower just as Hu Yang shows up in a Back to the Future 2 reference.
Yeah.
We don't see where they jump to, but then we see that they rise up, and what's rising them up is Hu Yang and the Jedi Starfighter. As they do that, Thrawn orders for the tower to be destroyed. I would assume that's to assure that Sabine and Ahsoka can't figure out ways to get back if they have the hyperdrive to do that.
Yeah. And I've also heard that could be a point of contention between Thrawn and the Night Sisters later on.
It could be, but it was to ensure I can understand his point of view. It's to ensure his escape, but at the same time, the Night Sisters are probably like, "Well, that's our home. That's our thing. That's our palace."
Right. But then they're also leaving that planet, so
what difference does it make?
Right.
So the Jedi Starship races after the Star Destroyer. They don't have the jump capabilities, I believe, to get to their home, so they have to fly into the Star Destroyer itself in order to get away. It's a chase. Ahsoka is almost to the ship, and then Thrawn opens up a channel and tells Ahsoka that she's been a worthy opponent. He knows exactly who Ahsoka. He says he knows Ahsoka because he knew her master, and he wonders how similar are they exactly.
Yeah, that was like a stab in the back almost. You could just see Ahsoka's face when he said that, because she's like, "I don't want to go down that path." But you're saying I might? Yeah,
not only that, he's also showing his cards a little bit and says that I know more about you than you realize, because I know who Darth Vader is.
Right. Well, everybody knows who Darth Vader is.
Yeah, but he wouldn't, because he's been lost in another galaxy. So, maybe the Night Sisters were also a news broadcast channel and would talk to Morgan and be like, "Tell us what's happening." "Well, the Empire's fallen."
But you also, in those books, that's because there's the first Thrawn, the second Thrawn trilogy, but the first one that's part of the new canon.
Yeah.
Him and Anakin meet up, and a whole series of books. He's going back and forth, meeting Anakin and then meeting Darth Vader. And he does kind of call out Darth Vader going, "I know who you are." And it was, Darth Vader just basically threatens him that Anakin Skywalker's dead or something. It's been a long time since I read the books.
Yeah.
But, it was definitely, you could tell he got under Darth Vader's skin bringing up Anakin Skywalker. So knowing Thrawn, he filed that in the back of his head and is like, yeah, you're Anakin.
Yeah. Thrawn does say, "Long live the Empire," with a confident smile, and they blast off into hyperspace, leaving Ahsoka and Sabine and Huyang in a disabled vehicle for a second or two before they regain everything. Ahsoka lands, and they meet up with those snail creatures, and she sees what's the convicts? That's not convicts. It's the owl. She sees an owl.
Oh yeah,
there.
the Mortai. It's Mortai.
Is it a Morai? I thought it was a.
Morai.
Anyways,
or that's what they'd call it or whatever. But yeah, she sees her owl, the signature owl that you see with Ahsoka every time you see her in Rebels. That owl is not far behind, and I think we see it in Book of Boba Fett or Mandalorian, but they don't focus on it like they do in this.
Yeah,
which also, hold on one second, is the embodiment of the daughter. So we'll get in that in a minute.
Yeah. But she seems troubled by it. She seems like, I wasn't expecting to see you here. What's going on? There's more at play.
Yeah.
Shin Hati catches up with the nomads, and she raises her lightsaber. Vinny, this was the other thing that Vinny wrote in about. He was wondering if Shin becomes the creator of the Knights of Ren.
Yeah.
Because the Knights of Ren do not come from our galaxy, is my understanding.
There's a lot of Knights of Ren theory coming into this too.
Yeah.
There was also somebody mentioned maybe Sabine starts the Knights of Ren
to protect it, and then it gets.
I don't know.
I mean, that's all. I mean, you could say anything. Like maybe the snails create the Knights of Ren.
It could be, or maybe her and Shin become girlfriends and they create the Knights of Ren together.
Maybe the wolves eat them, and then the wolves make the Knights of Ren. I mean,
the
we
Rens
can keep going
poop
on
out,
this.
and then the poop becomes the Knights of Ren.
Maybe some of the grass that we see in the planet becomes sentient, and they make the Knights of Ren. I mean, it could keep going.
It really could. Or you know what could happen is that we miss all this, and then the next series, it's like, here they are.
Maybe the midichlorian becomes sentient, and they say, "Forget this. We're taking matters in our own hands," and they make the Knights of Ren. We cut to Balin walking towards something, and in the distance, in some of the mountains, there is one beam of light. Did you catch that? Yeah.
I caught it the second rewatch.
We flip angles, and we see that Balin is standing on the statues carved into a mountain of the father and the son. The mother has been the sister has been completely, her head's been cut off. It's fallen off.
Right.
And so this makes me think that what Balin was talking about was true. He's looking for like a pure force, but the father controls the force, right? He's the one that controls the balance.
Yes, kind of. He controls the balance between a son and daughter,
which essentially is the good side and the light side.
Right. The bad side.
The bad side. Yeah, the dark side. And
dark side. Good and dark side and the light side.
And so he's standing on the hand of the father, which makes me think he wants to be the control. I think that's a metaphor for that.
Yeah. Either that or he's going after the mother. But
yeah. Well, we're going to watch. Are you able to watch Mortis again, the trilogy before next episode? Because
I watched it like one episode before. Like I had an hour to kill before Ahsoka, and I already watched it. But I can rewatch it again. And I must say, Dave Filoni must have been on some hella good drugs when he wrote that.
That was all of George Lucas's idea. The Mortis
was
gods.
It? Or whoever. Dude, that is some of the most messed up Star Wars I've ever seen, was the Mortis arc. And I can understand why people are just watching it. You got to really suspend reality when you watch it, because it is some odd stuff.
Yeah, they were supposed to be in a different realm. They were supposed to be Force gods. Lucas wanted Force gods to be introduced into Star Wars, and that's what these three are.
Well, I mean, he could have said, "This is what I want." And Dave Filoni did the back. Wrote the story.
Yeah.
But I mean, because what happens is they're like in space, and all of a sudden they get sucked into this other realm, and that's where the Mortis gods are.
Yeah.
But I can rewatch it and we could talk about it next episode if you want.
Yeah. The Star Destroyer reaches Dathomir, and this is where we actually see the cargo that they were transporting the entire time.
Yeah.
Ezra returns to Home One in a stolen starship, a stolen transport, and a security team comes out, which we saw in episode 1 of this when Balin and Shin enter Home One or one of those ships, a New Republic ship.
Yeah.
And so this kind of echoes that, but Ezra walks out in full stormtrooper gear for some reason.
I'll have a theory in a second.
And Chopper is the first to go up to Ezra, recognizing his scent, probably. And
he probably scanned him.
Probably. But then, he should have said something to Hera, like, "Hello, this is Ezra."
I was trying to understand what he was saying, and I don't think I could understand it through the tears.
Yeah. Well, I don't think you could understand it without the tears, because I didn't understand it. It was a very heartwarming moment. Ezra takes off his helmet and he says he's home.
Yeah.
What was your theory of why he kept the helmet on? Because that just take it off, at least to see. As you fly.
Yeah. Well, he probably had it off when he was flying, but I think that somebody had come up with the theory that Ezra was trying to make sure everything was okay before he revealed himself.
Okay, how?
Like making sure that he was in the right spot or making sure that this was people he could trust or before he revealed who he really was.
I mean, Sabine was, Hera was right there. He should be able to see from the cockpit, oh, this is fine. Take off the helmet. And
but then we wouldn't have the reveal of there's Ezra.
There's Ezra.
People who didn't watch Rebels or doesn't know basic storytelling wouldn't have known that was Ezra. And you don't have that big reveal of him taking the helmet off.
I assume that Ezra did call in beforehand and say, "Hey, Hera, this is Ezra. I'm on my way." And she came out unbelieving it and a little cautious that this might be a trick of the Empire.
Or they could have just played Prince Ali. Dun, 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 dun.
That's not the same actor. Anyways, Ahsoka is staring off into the distance, contemplating. Yes, she seems. The last time we saw her was with that Morai.
Yeah.
And so I assume she's still considering it and contemplating what that means. Ahsoka tells Sabine she did well. Ezra's home. We accomplished the goal that we wanted to accomplish. Ahsoka knows this just through the Force. She's Force sensitive, obviously, and so she's
She's a Jedi?
She's a Jedi. Ezra's where he needs to be, and so are they. Ahsoka says that it's time to move on. Sabine takes a moment, and she sees shadows in the starlight, which we can get to in a second. This is the part where I felt a little bit overwhelmed, and there might have been watery eyes because Ahsoka takes a second look, and we hear Ahsoka's theme. The camera pulls back, and Anakin's watching over her. Kind of harkens back to the earlier conversation when Ahsoka said that Anakin was always there for her.
Mm-hmm.
And so even through the Force here now, he's with her and watching over her, and a smile crosses his face. So I was a little concerned when Sabine is the one that sees the shadows in starlight, because I'm wondering if she becomes the sister, if that's the case, because I do remember in the Mortis arc, the father gets mad at Anakin because he's supposed to take the middle one. He's supposed to be the father figure. So I'm wondering if his destiny, even through the Force, is to become Mortis God and become the father. Because Sabine sees that, does that mean she becomes the sister? Balin becomes the brother?
That would be an interesting way of doing it. I mean, you assumed that it would have been Ahsoka that would be the sister, because essentially the sister sacrificed herself to save Ahsoka.
And does Ahsoka save herself to sacrifice herself to save Sabine?
Right.
I don't know. Or maybe but it's interesting that the Morai is there, that Balin is looking on the father. Anakin is there, who the father once was like, no, it's just your destiny. Don't be selfish.
Yeah. I don't know. there's so much stuff that goes on with the Mortis gods that you just don't really know what's going to happen.
Yeah. But I'm excited about that prospect. What were your thoughts about the season in general?
It was fun to see everybody again. I think, it was very good storytelling. I'm a little concerned because it feels like nothing was really accomplished. Only thing that was accomplished was you shook everything up. So you just flip-flopped everybody. So everybody that was in Far, Far Away is now in the normal universe, and everybody that was in the normal universe is now in Far, Far Away.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit concerning. But dude, it is setting up some insane Star Wars storytelling for the next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
I think it's a springboard. I know a lot of people didn't understand it, but you've had 2 years. You knew this was happening. You had 2 years to watch Rebels and Clone Wars, or at least pick and choose what you could watch, because there was enough out there. Disney Plus had it where, you could see what to watch to figure out. You didn't have to watch all of it, but you could have watched a good chunk of it and spent a couple hours or a few hours of your time to learn about Ahsoka and learn about Rebels and everything. But no, back at, I was happy to see the characters again. I mean, that was my main concern, was seeing all the characters, the Rebels characters, seeing new life brought into them. Like I said, in the past, I thought the castings were perfect for everybody. I wasn't, it's just like with Ahsoka, you hear Rosario Dawson's going to play her and you're like, how good is she going to do? And it took a little bit getting used to Rosario playing Ahsoka. It took a little bit used to seeing everybody. I'm still trying to get used to Hera just because we hadn't seen as much as I would have liked to, but I think Elizabeth Winstead's doing an awesome job as Hera. I can't remember the girl who's playing Sabine, but when she cut her hair and put on that armor,
Natasha,
yes. She's captured Sabine, and then Prince Ali playing Ezra he's nailing Ezra.
That's not the same actor.
It's not. I thought it was the same actor. It's not the same actor.
He was rumored to be that character.
But
what's his name? Ifan Amani is not the same actor as.
Oh well, never mind then. That's how much attention I pay to this stuff. Well, never mind.
But he did good as Ezra.
Yeah, he did a great job as Ezra.
He nailed it, actually.
Yeah, no, I thought he nailed Ezra. There was a lot of, you could tell those people spent a lot of time researching those characters.
Yeah, like Ezra's a cartoon character, so he's heightened reality. He's not actual reality, but if you reverse engineering and say this Ezra is what they base the cartoon off of, I mean, he is grounded, he is silly, he is adventurous in spirit, and I feel like they captured that perfectly in the show.
Yeah. No, I was happy with it.
While grounding it.
Yeah, I was happy with it. It's introducing characters that I love to new people. I'm happy to have more Rebel stuff out. All in all, I would give it, like I said, a 10 out of 10, a 9 out of 10, something, rank it pretty high. I wish the story would have advanced it a little bit more, but then you also got to take a step back and be like, he's just introducing the characters to everybody. And I think once that happens, in the next season or next iteration or whatever, we were either going to get Mando season 4 or we're going to get Ahsoka season 2, or we're going to get
Skeleton Crew. Skeleton Crew apparently folds into this too.
Oh my God. And then we got Acolyte, but Acolyte's 1,000 years before.
100 years before the prequel. It's 100 years before the prequel. Sorry, I don't want to be that guy that's like, oh, actually, it's 100 years, but okay. I am.
I thought it was more High Republic era, but no, it's not.
It is High Republic. It's the late High Republic is what they're saying. So it's like at the end of the High Republic.
I mean, even that could tie into it.
It could, yeah.
With the Mortis gods and stuff.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
I liked it. I thought it was a really well done, really well written season.
Mm-hmm.
The main things, I think we covered this last time. The main things were finding Ezra. We accomplished that, and finding out where Thrawn is and stopping Thrawn. We found that, and we didn't accomplish that. He's back in the galaxy. So
but we knew we weren't going to happen. That wasn't going to happen.
Yeah. So I felt it was very well written. It did everything I wanted it to do. I enjoyed the characters. I didn't think that Filoni would go to the Mortis trilogy and because I felt like that was too deep of a thing to explore in this season of Ahsoka, but I like to see that he's teasing it, that people can do their research if they want to know more for season 2, and that he's going to go there. It's going to happen, that we're going to explore the Mortis trilogy in live action.
Yeah. Like I said, it was a love letter, I think, to Clone Wars and Rebels fans. And I thought it was more, I didn't realize it was going to be as big a love letter to Clone Wars fans, because that episode 5 was a big deal to a lot of people. I think people were like, the Ahsoka trilogy is Rebels fans, but then season 5 is Clone Wars fans. So I didn't realize it was going to be reverberate as big as it did when you're watching it.
Maybe they'll go back and watch Rebels now.
Rebels or Clone Wars?
Both.
Yeah.
But a lot of people skipped Rebels.
I can understand, because I mean, the first season was not, I mean, it was a kids cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
And then season 4 is some of the best Star Wars storytelling out there, I think.
So is Ahsoka better than season 1 of The Mandalorian?
Probably. I'm also being very biased because I really enjoyed. Ahsoka was the one thing that I was like really super excited for.
My top 3, in no particular order, is Andor, Mandalorian season 1, and Ahsoka. I felt like these are the best so far.
I'd have to go back and rewatch like season 1 of Mando. But yeah, it did feel like it towards the end, it got really loose. Andor, I think is some of the best storytelling. I think it's just because I keep saying it, Star Wars has gotten stale, and when you bring something new in like Rogue One and Andor, and you bring that new side of things in, it's refreshing to us as 40-year-old Star Wars or 40-year Star Wars fans. And that's why we enjoyed Andor so much. I mean, I enjoyed Obi-Wan, but it wasn't, the story, like I said, Andor has got to be number 1. And I think it's just, it was shot differently, and it was just a different storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it would be Ahsoka. I have to go back and figure out which season of Mandalorian I'd rank, and then Andor. Oh no, I enjoyed Book of Boba Fett. No, I didn't. I think what happened with Book of Boba Fett is we were expecting one thing, and we got Mandalorian season 2.5.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anything else?
No, I think we covered it all.
Okay. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
I'm just joking. But is there anything else? No.
No, I think we covered Mortis Gods. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for listening to Smugglers Galaxy Podcast. If you could, please leave a like and a 5-star review of the show anywhere you listen to podcasts, if it's allowed. It really helps us out and helps people find our show. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Send us an email or message us our feedback. We love feedback, and we love to make you part of the show. Our email address is smugglersgalaxy@gmail.com. Thank you to Alfonso Riviera for the Smugglers Galaxy logo, and to Levi Waterhouse for the Smugglers Galaxy music you hear at the start and the end of every episode. People, collect for the love of it. Hashtag vote with your wallet. Sabine probably won't be on next week. Pass on what you've learned. Be a positive force in the collecting community. This is the way.
This is the way.